Continue.
I'm Deborah Annan, Form 2, offering science.
And I'm Kakwi Brenda. I'm from Kamegabi. I'm Form 2, offering science.
Hi, I'm Calista Andrew. I'm in Form 2, offering science with IT.
I'm Gabriela Na. I'm in Form 3, offering science with geography.
Okay, so we are done.
Okay. Nice to meet you all.
Nice to meet you too.
Okay. So I think we can go right into talking about, okay, do I need to give a brief about First Global? Maybe.
Yes, please.
Okay, so Prof, just to give you a bit of background, First Global is an international organization that is very interested in engaging young people in practical solutions or solving problems using practical solutions that's encouraged through STEM. And we as an organization have been the partner organization for representing Ghana every single year from, I think, 2017. Angela, correct me if I'm wrong. But
You're right.
I'm right. Okay. We've worked with Archbishop Potter Girls. We've worked with Wesley Girls High School. We've worked with Methodist Girls High School. And now we are working with Aburi Girls High School. And this particular year, there are two challenges that they'll be working on. But the first challenge is to identify a solution in their environment, a problem, sorry, in their environment, and create a solution that solves the problem. The girls chose the area health because of the breakout of COVID-19, and the usage of masks is now very rampant as compared to previous years when it was only the medical doctors and surgeons who were using the mask. Now almost everybody who walks around uses a mask. So disposing of the mask has become very, very critical, especially to our environment. So the girls thought of a solution where we could create a mask that is biodegradable. And today they're going to talk more into details about it. So I'll not take their shine. I'll let them take over from me now. So I think, Linda, you are the leader, right? Is it Linda or Esther?
Esther.
Esther, apologies. Okay. So Esther, please take over from me now and tell us about how the project started, where you are at, and then we'll take it from there. Okay.
All right. Okay, so we started our projects, should we say, around the beginning of August. Yes, ending of July to beginning of August, the first of August. And we started our research on identify any problem, like all the problems. And one thing that caught our eye was the nose mask that was being causing the pollution, especially. Ever since COVID came, that's been like one of the hectic problems, but it's now adding to the waste in the country. And even though people use it the right way, some people use the right way, others don't even wear it because they say it's uncomfortable and that when they breathe to it, those wear glasses like me. So that when you wear it, they get fog in their glasses. And some, they just don't want to wear it. It was like something that they didn't even want to wear in the first place. So it was like, okay, then why don't we get some, make nose masks that not just benefit the environment, but it's actually comfortable to wear and it's inexpensive. So we came up with using the cotton fabric to make nose masks. And already that's been made in the country, but others are still not, what's the word to use? Patronizing it in the sense that that's the best way to use it. They are just seeing it as an easy way because one is reusable and it's washable. So their own is, if I wear it today, I can wear it tomorrow and the next day without washing it because that's the only one they prefer wearing. But ours is in the sense that you wash it to get it in a clean state, like in the state that you got it fresh. And within 5 months, when let's say you put your cotton nose masks maybe in a soil or somewhere else without being in contact with people, or you dispose it, after you use it for, I think, more than a week or two, it will start to decompose within 5 months. When you stop using it, within 5 months, it starts to decompose. And for the surgical nose mask, it takes about 30 years for that one alone to decompose. 30 years. So it will be in our environment, in our soil, without decomposing for 30 good years. And that's going to even cause more pollution. And it doesn't, and when it decomposes, the gases that come out from it, they're even more harmful than when it's even in the solid state, because nothing of it changes. The molecules of it just stay the same without changing. But for cotton, it just changes and then nothing else is left. No piece of it remains, everything just goes. So that's why I said to use that, using a cotton nose mask, or should we call it a biodegradable nose mask as our solution project. So the next phase of the competition was to form an alliance with another country to unify our ideas together. Yes, and we formed an alliance with Belarus in Europe. And their idea was that we should use a drone technology to transport medicines to areas that don't have access to pharmacies, and even at a cheaper rate, because in their country, the villages, they don't have, some have access to pharmacies, but using the delivery system is more expensive. So they resort to not going to the pharmacy. So that's how they came up with the idea, and we decided to form an alliance with them so that we can incorporate a biodegradable nose mask on the global scale, so that we can all help our country together. Yes. See, that's what so far we've been doing.
Okay. I'd also like you to talk about, Prof, I don't know if you have any questions right now, but you have so much we want to tell you about. Prof, please, yeah.
Yeah, but I'll just unmute it. Yes, I'll listen as much as I can before I say this.
Okay. So, can you also talk about the CubeSat project that you are going to be working on as well?
Yes. So we've been given a prototype of a satellite to build ourselves, and we have to pick the function that the problem we want the satellite to be solving. And we'll be given a number of sensors to use for that project. So our problem we've identified is to monitor the weather, especially in Aburi here, because normally in our climate system, what we know is that we are supposed to be in the rainy season, going to dry season from September, October. But right now, what we are seeing is pure sunshine. Then within the next 5 minutes, heavy rainfall out of nowhere. That's not the weather is supposed to be. And it actually hinders most of us in the school, because you have your things on the line, you have to be somewhere to go, a class to go, maybe a meeting with someone, a teacher or something. Then the rain just starts off a sudden without you knowing. So our satellite is going to monitor the weather, the temperature, and the humidity in the area. Yeah. And we're actually going to start building on it within this week.
Okay, I'm very excited for you, because in university, I wish I had the opportunity to build satellites and very interesting projects like you've had in senior high school. But I'm glad you are doing it so that you can show me how it's done. But I'd like us to talk more about the biodegradable mask. Sorry. So one thing that Mr. Gladstone would tell you right after the call, since you just got to the school, is that we've also found a way of using biodegradable fibers, like making fiber from banana, coconut, and palm fibers, instead of using the cotton fibers, so that when we put them as a filter in the mask and it goes into the ground, it's still able to biodegrade into waste that can be consumed by the soil. So it's something that we'll also be looking into it. I remember the previous, when we were working with Methodist girls, they were also thinking of how they could use banana peels or plantain leaves to make paper. And for me, it's a very interesting area because I'm looking forward to the day one of us or one of the girls can be able to create, if it's paper cups or what the disposable items we use with these fibers, or let me say plant-based fibers. So for now, I don't know how far you have created the mask, but is there something that you can show, Prof, that you've done so far? Or you're still in research phase?
Yeah, we are still in the research phase.
Okay. So maybe the only thing we'll be able to show him is the CubeSat kit for now.
Yes.
Okay. So I'll let him ask you maybe some questions on the mask, and then we'll follow up with the CubeSat. Cool. Prof, please, we have any questions?
Yes, thank you very much. There was something you sent earlier which I read. So I did read about the background to it all. And as I said, I was quite impressed by the fact that you had put in so much and you had thought about a solution to a problem. As you know, we've been wearing masks. I'm a surgeon, so I've been wearing masks for a long time. So even when after COVID, I will continue wearing masks. And so that problem would continue to be there, maybe on a smaller scale. In hospitals, we will still be having to dispose of these masks. And sometimes the masks we use have more plastic in it than even the ones that are being worn generally. So it is a good thing that you are thinking about. And I hope you would come up, you will finish it nicely. And then we would be able to use these kind of biodegradable things. There's a lot of wastes, as you know, plastic waste and other wastes which are not biodegrading and which are causing a lot of pollution in our water bodies and even on land as well. It's causing a lot of harm. So that's very good. I have one or two questions. So how different is this mask going to be from maybe, are there other cotton masks around? And how is this an improvement on that, if there are, that is?
Hello, Prof, please, can you come again?
I was asking, it was a two-in-one question. One, are there other biodegradable masks around at the moment?
No, not in Ghana. Actually, okay, let me use the word no. We haven't seen anything like that before.
Okay,
In our research.
Gladstone. Prof, I would like to say there are cotton masks, but there are no masks made from other plants' fibers. So that's why we are also looking at using those fibers instead, so that it will be more innovative and also stop the waste, reduce the waste from those plants as well.
Exactly.
Okay. Good. Yes, because that was a follow-up question. I was going to ask how different this was going to be from any other cotton mask, but I think Angela has answered that bit of the question. How long do you think is going to take you to complete this?
Not too long, less than, for now, we agree us up to Friday to finish the project.
Okay.
So will you be making samples? Like,
yes, we will do the prototype, and then from there we'll start producing some.
Okay. Okay.
So I suppose you intend letting, what's the name of the body that certifies the masks?
FDA.
FDA.
Yes.
That's right. Do you have plans to do that?
Yes, please.
Yeah.
Okay.
So actually, I found one of the producers of the mask here in Ghana that we can, after we are done with our prototype, we can talk to him about it because he's already producing masks here. So he has the infrastructure, he has the hygienic conditions already. So the goal is that if they're very successful at producing the prototype, we'll then move on to have some sort of a meeting with him to see how it can be mass produced, and then hopefully the FDA will also approve and it can become something that people in Ghana can patronize. So I'm hoping that will go well.
The other thing I would like you to think about is people complain about the discomfort of wearing masks.
Yes.
And sometimes it's not only the part that you are breathing through, but even sometimes it's the bit that goes behind the ears and so on. Are you looking at that as well? Do you think of any innovative ways in which you can make it even more comfortable?
Okay, yesterday we mixed a few research about how nose masks can stick to people's face without putting the rope, and I need to be more comfortable in terms of most of using some of the sensors we have. And I know when you see they have at least plastic normally put on their skin or to make them feel comfortable if they're running. We are learning about that kind of texture ways to able to fit inside our nose mask with the sensor. So when it gets dirty, the sensor will give you a signal, but it still more look comfortable. You know, it will look like it will keep you very cold, your face very cold, and not try to give you any facial chemical reactions in your system.
Yeah, that should be very interesting. Again, I'm thinking more about myself now, because in the past, when I've had to operate for many hours and wearing a mask, sometimes by the end of this surgery, I have a headache because of the mask and it's how uncomfortable it is. So if you're able to come up with something like that, then it may be very useful because the medical profession may be very, very interested in using things like that. So well done for thinking along those lines as well.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Hope you ladies are taking notes.
Yes,
Lady, please, I have a question for Prof.
Okay, please go
Yes,
ahead.
Angela.
I wanted to find out why plastic is the more preferable choice for making masks. Is there a scientific reason? And also why the medical profession prefers disposable masks to reusable masks?
Right, thank you for the question. Maybe I'll answer the second part first. In the past, we used to use masks that were washed and reused, but they don't have to be just washed, they have to be sterilized so that they are kind of germ-free. And in the process, it was found that it was more expensive, actually, to use the ones that you re-wash and have to re-sterilize than the disposable. So the disposable ones were actually cheaper. So it was mainly to do with costs. That's we do that. So it's much cheaper to use something that is sterile and use it once and then move on again to use another one than actually to wash and sterilize it and so on and so forth. So that's one of the reasons. As to why we prefer plastic, again, I think somehow it's cheaper. That's why we are all using plastic bags and so on. It's cheaper, more convenient in a way. You can easily fold it. Paper is more difficult squash and to become very small and all that. So it's kind of more convenient and cheaper, and that's why we've been doing that. But at least once there's a better alternative, surely I'm sure we'll be more interested in that.
Thank you.
Okay, girls, does any of you have any questions for Prof?
And do any of you want to become doctors? You don't only have to ask questions related to.
You can ask about medical school, when you went to junior high school, what happened? I mean, this is your opportunity. Don't be shy.
Yeah. Hello, Doug, Prof.
Yes.
Please, I want to ask this question concerning about this coronavirus, COVID-19, and then be using the nose mask.
Right.
You know, okay, let me use in a system whereby that some of us, we don't use the nose mask and we meet other people, and then they are using the nose mask. We feel uncomfortable, like, oh, did the person sick or not? Because most of them now, they use it when they are sick. But when they get well, they take it off. I really found very like disturbed when I see those things. Sometimes I'm going to meet my boss. My boss is not wearing it, so I need to remove mine by force. So I want to know what is behind the whole nose mask, and then how is it going to make the society helpful to able to fight against COVID?
Right. I mean, it works in two ways. It protects yourself because, as you know, it's a virus, and it's in the when people talk or sneeze or cough or sing, they release droplets. So if they have the COVID virus, then they release it in the air, and there's even talk about it staying in the air for a long time as aerosols. So it's when somebody has let out the virus in aerosols or droplets, and a second person breathes it in. Okay, then they get, as it were, contaminated with the virus. So by wearing the mask, you are protecting yourself. But then again, you'll be protecting others in case you also have it, because sometimes you can have it and there'll be no symptoms at all. Okay, so at least if there are two people in a room and one person is wearing it, that may actually protect the other person and vice versa. But the more people who are wearing masks, the more likely it is that the virus would, as it were, end with them. And then it wouldn't keep spreading. But unfortunately, people don't wear the masks, or even when they wear it, their nose is exposed and their mouth is exposed, and it's just under the chin. So that doesn't help very, very much. But I must say that God has been merciful to us, because it looks as if we in Africa, to a large extent, are protected more than the white people are. And we have a lot of resistance because we are exposed to a lot of germs. So if you go to places like Sodom and Gomorrah and so on, you'll have thought that they will be dying like flies, but they are not, because they have so much resistance against some of these. Okay, so in a sense, we have some innate protection, but it's not an absolute protection. So we still have to do our bit, and hopefully it will end very soon, hopefully. But your masks will continue using them even after coverage.
Yes, thank you so much. Girls, do you have any
Prof,
questions?
another question again.
Okay. Glasgow, go ahead.
Question again.
Go
Prof.
ahead.
Yes.
Okay. Prof, I want to ask again.
Yes,
you see, they say that the virus is in the hair or in the system, like. But Prof, when you cover your nose, the part of the other body is naked.
Yes. Unlike,
so what happens to that side too?
All right. Unlike something like Ebola, which was spreading through, if you like, body fluids and so on. With COVID, it's airborne, right? So long as it doesn't get into your mouth or your nose mainly, then you are fine. So even if it touches your skin, unless you then touch that part of your body and then touch your face and lick your fingers or something, you are not going to get it. So it being the air is both a disadvantage in that it's the air. So people are breathing out and you can breathe in. But then it means that there's also a way of protecting yourself. Once you can prevent it from getting to your mouth or into your nose, then you are more or less protected.
Prof, with a nose mask, sometimes when you breathe in, you feel like the air you breathe out, when you breathe out, the air you breathe out is like it's stuck in the mask. The CO2 that is like the carbon dioxide that is still out there, is it supposed to go back into your system? So what's the effects of the carbon dioxide that
Goes back?
Yes, that goes back into your system.
Well, actually, it's not quite true. I mean, yes, a little bit of the air you breathe out may be in the mask, but really, especially with the paper masks we use, I'm calling it paper now, but the disposable mask we use, apart from the KN95 and so on, there's very little space between the mask and your nose. And in fact, when you're breathing in, you find that the mask comes to stick on your nose, literally. And the air you're breathing is coming from beyond the mask. Okay, so I've actually tried an experiment. So I have a pulse oximeter at home and I go on walks. And when I go on walks, I actually wear my mask when I'm walking and I'm breathing in and out and so on. And after that, I immediately put on the pulse oximeter and the oxygen saturation is perfect, hasn't dropped at all. Okay, so it doesn't happen that you are just rebreathing your carbon dioxide. You're actually breathing through the mask. Okay, so people were afraid of that, but it doesn't. And in my area, more and more people are now exercising wearing their mask. It's true it makes breathing a bit labored because you have to breathe and the air has to come through the mask before it comes to you, kind of thing. But it doesn't affect the concentration of oxygen in your blood or carbon dioxide for that matter. And before the next question, when I was introducing myself, I should have added this one, that my wife went to Aburi Girls.
Oh, wow. Wow, I didn't know that myself.
Yes, she did.
Oh, okay. Oh, I had one more question, but I think the network has dropped the girls.
Oh, okay, yeah, they've dropped.
Yeah,
okay.
I'm sure they'll join back later. But Angela and I wanted to find out if there are any robotic machines that can be found in Ghanaian hospitals or even in the University of Ghana Medical School that we can maybe replicate for the girls to build as another project after this.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just off my head, I don't think so. But now that you've said it, I'll open my eyes and look. Although I can see how useful it will be, especially in these COVID times and so on. Because, for example, in the COVID wards, a lot of times the nurses stay outside the ward, and they only go in from time to time, especially where they are, on ventilators and so on. But even when they are not, so it's possible to have robots that would take medication to somebody on the one bed, move another bed, that type of thing, and serve them. I can see that easily. But I'm sure there are many other things we could do with it. I would open my eyes and have a think.
Yes, please.
Sure.
It will be very helpful for us because now we don't just want them to build it and then they see it as a school project. but they see it as something that even during their vacation, we can still build, and hopefully it becomes one of the solutions that we use in the future. Yeah. So and let me just find out what's happening with their network. Oh, Angela, will you call them? Angela, you
Let
can
me call them. Let me
Okay.
call them. My friend.
Just find out.
Normal call doesn't go through, and then I called Glaston's WhatsApp, but it just rang. So.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
All right. But at least we've dealt with the main stuff.
Yeah.
Yes, please. Yes. We are very grateful for your time.
Most welcome.
Thank you.
So thank you all for the opportunity. I was saying before, just before I went off, that my wife went to Aburi Girls herself. So she was quite excited when I told her that the Aburi Girls were those who were doing this. So I will encourage the girls to not to give up, but to pursue this, and always have that attitude of wanting to solve any difficulty that they have. Actually, look out for things that you can solve. Basically, a lot of people don't see difficulties or things that need to be solved. And when the problem arises, they see the problem and they don't see it as an opportunity. But I'm glad that at this age, they're having this inculcated into them. And so I would like to encourage Lady Omega, Angela, and so on also to continue doing what they are doing for Mother Ghana. So thank you all for the opportunity.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Prof. We really appreciate you spending time with us.
Most welcome.
God bless you.
God bless you.
Enjoy the rest of your day.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.